Blue Graffiti came to me at a time, we had just finished filming the first season of Shadow and Bone. And right after that, COVID hit and kind of disoriented all of us. And I left Los Angeles at that time and I wanted to spend time with my family kind of in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, Midwest. And yeah, it was just a time of, I think, peace and family and togetherness and just time. And it afforded me to be able to get back into literature in a real way that I hadn't in a long time, and nothing else was really happening. So I was just spending a lot of time by bonfires and rivers and with old friends and family, and plenty of storytelling and beer drinking and literature reading. And I just, I don't know, I felt very inspired. I'd written a lot of poetry before that and screenplays, and I thought that maybe I should try my hand in a novel and kind of, yeah, write some kind of love letter to the Midwest and the people that I love so much. And that was how Blue Graffiti came to be. Yeah, I think it's, I had that relationship to it as well. I think I always grew up wanting to explore the world and feeling like there was so much more out there than what I was privy to where I was from. Kind of had that wandering spirit and that dreaming kind of way about me. And then once I did leave, that was when I think I finally got the proper perspective on what made it so special about where I was from. And I'm super thankful that that's where I grew up, you know, with the people that I did and the family that I did. And it just gave me the time to kind of mold myself in a real solid way and then kind of go out into the world from there and explore and adventure and find out who I wanted to be, but to have those kind of real roots. And I think it took me a little while to figure out exactly how I wanted to pay homage to that, but I think Blue Graffiti ended up being the way that I could. I think the details of the minutia of the day-to-day life and kind of the beauty that can be found in them, maybe mundane things that can be perceived that way that aren't so much so. I always love those things the most, you know, because that feels like the lifeblood of what we're doing here. The details, I think, can sometimes be skipped over or unappreciated, but I think that's where a lot of the romance is found, and especially in a place where things don't move so fast and things don't seem to change so much, but they do. And there's a lot of magic there, and there's a lot of openness to kind of breathe and let that kind of thing breed in places like that where I'm from. So yeah, I would say the details. Yeah, for sure. I think I've always loved romance so much in my own life, even when I was younger. You know, I've seen all the romantic films known to man, but I also just love it in my own life. And I thought the book itself could be a romantic tapestry instead of just focusing on Cash and Rose, although there was times where I wanted to make the story just about them. Very tempting. I think I'll write a romance at some point, just a strict romance between two people. But as much as I could, I dove into those two, and Rose is obviously such an important mainstay in the book, and certainly something that takes so much of Cash's feeling and you know, his dreaming and his thoughts throughout the novel. And it was just, yeah, it was really incredible to explore that. Yeah, I think I've always grown up believing in that. But the thing is like, you know, I feel like love at first sight kind of gets a bad rap these days. But I think it's only when people look at it in a surface level kind of way. When I think about love at first sight, it's not so much of like, oh, I see them, they're beautiful, I love them. It's not like a surface level like that. It's more so like, I see them, they're beautiful, I understand them in a almost ancient kind of intuitive way. And I have this feeling of attraction and this kind of like, this pulling towards one another. There's this idea that someone, because one of my friends the other day, and this girl in my life actually was talking to me about this, is this idea that we could have been born across the world from one another, and that sometimes we have this sense of loneliness or this sense of like we're being pulled towards something. And it's that idea of like when you separate, you know, an atom or two atoms that are very connected and you put them across the globe from one another, if you do something to one, it affects the other. And it's like, why can't that be true about people? A good amount. It's not my life and it's not my circumstances, not my time frame, any of that, but there's a lot of my spirit in Cash. It was a nice conduit to be able to explore some of the things that ruminate on my side. But yeah, he's not me, but maybe in another life, in another world, another time. There's certainly a lot of my dreaming and my pondering and my inclinations in him. But yeah, it's like a really close friend, I would say. Yeah, I didn't set out. I think with the book, I didn't set out in particular. It's like, I'm going to write about this. I'm going to write about this. I want to make sure that I hit on these themes, these ideas. It wasn't really so much about that. It was just giving myself the space to let whatever wanted to come to the surface to do that. And I think one of the major themes that I did was grief, because that's something that I battled with and thought about a lot in my life. Even when I was younger, I was very unokay with the fact that people were here one day and then they were not. And that's always felt very large and continues to do so. And I've lost people in my life. And I think it just naturally became an exploration of that. And, you know, I've spent maybe too much time thinking about what would happen if I lost someone that I love, and then you do someone you love. And it's just something that we are burdened with as people. And
I feel you on that one, because, you know, I think whenever you lose someone, it makes you, you know, examine your own mortality. And I think grieving is a way to showcase for love for somebody.
Yeah, I think it's like the love that you didn't get to give, you know, in a way. And you can't, the ironic thing is it's impossible to kind of give all that love. I think there's something about myself and about Cash that is this desire of his to freeze time and to stay in good moments and beautiful moments while they're there. But, you know, he reconciles towards the end of the book that you can't hang on too tightly, you must let things pass and come and go. And that's trust that the beautiful things and meaningful things about life continue to come if you just release these moments. And so, I don't know, I struggle with that as well. I get very, very sentimental, very nostalgic. I want to hang on to, I want to keep people close that I love. I don't want to grow up or people to die or leave or anything like that, but that's just kind of the nature of life. And I think art and writing is one way, is my favorite way, I think, to kind of preserve what we have going on here, and that it's a tiny way that we can be eternal, I think.
Yeah, you can't stop time. Like, you have to sort of be okay with the fact that time moves on.
Exactly, but if I can write a poem that hits it on the head, maybe I can capture that moment, and that poem can live forever, and in a way we can live forever through that. That's something I didn't think about before. I think there's a lot of things I didn't think about before becoming an author. One of them, I didn't realize how female-dominated the audience would be regardless of what I had read. And, you know, I have a lot of intellectual and male friends that enjoy, you know, like would even, you know, enjoy art, I would say, but still don't read. Some of my best friends, it's impossible to get them to read this book. So it's like, it's been an interesting thing. It's like, there's not a lot of males reading my work, or Blue Graffiti, from my perspective. Any of the feedback, any reviews people send my way or whatever it is, it's all from a female perspective. I don't find that intimidating. I rather like that my work is being read by women, but I do wish that more men would read it. Yeah, I don't feel intimidated by I think writing for female audiences, or certainly not with a romance, because I think that some of the most beautiful people and most impactful people in my entire life have all been women, and I have such a reverence and appreciation and respect for them that I think that it's a great honor to be able to write about love from my perspective as a male, and I think that I can hopefully like represent a way of thinking about it in my life that is maybe interesting or refreshing or spiritual or I don't know, a deeper kind of way. So yeah, I like that. I like that responsibility. Yeah, it's not so intimidating. It's interesting and exciting. I've written a second and a third actually. But yeah, so I wrote another one that was, it's a sequel, but it's actually a prequel to Blue Graffiti, and then there's a third one that I'm editing right now that doesn't have anything to do with them, but I don't know, I have so many different things that I want to do. Sometimes it's just like, I'm not really writing to have the books be put out there to make money off of them or do this whole circuit or anything like that. That doesn't really interest me. In fact, it interests me a lot less now than it even did beforehand. I'm like, oh, I don't like this part. I don't even, you know, this is really nice talking to you, but it's like the self-emotion thing, or like, please read my book. It's like, don't love it. So it's like, it's almost like it's weird, but I'm almost like, I'm cool if no one reads my second and third books, and maybe I'll write another one, and maybe someone will beg me to publish it or something, and maybe then I do. That's kind of what happened with Blue Graffiti, but I'm not propulsed forward by this need to read my work, get it out there, make money off it, do this whole thing. It's like, I just love the act of writing it and having it exist in the world in some capacity, but we'll see. I have. And I will say, first of all, I love Emily. She's such a sweetheart and so talented. She joined me on my book tour actually in Chicago, which was such a gracious thing for her to do. But her work is incredible, and we're on the same page. Like, I would kill to be in one of her films. I would kill to be in one of her films. It'd be a great honor to be one of her romantic leads. I have a dream come true. Mine would be in a rom-com anyways, or a romance in general. So literally just, I'll do it for free.
Tell the camera.
I'll do it for free. I would just say that it was Alex, but it's like also, and fun fact, I did audition for it. Not for Alex though. But that, I think that movie's gonna be great. And that's not the one that I'm gonna be a part of, but hopefully one in the future. Happy Places is great.
He'd make a great win.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I would do that as well. I would love to do that. I think it will happen. I just, a lot of this side of the aisle is just kind of believing that beautiful things are gonna happen, even though it seems rather barren out there sometimes. So we'll see.
We're manifesting it for you.
Yeah, hell yeah, I like that.
Do you have a favorite one of her books?
Yeah, I would say People with Me on Make Ocean.
Okay. I'm a funny story girl.
Yeah, funny story. That's on my bookshelf right now.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
You'll fly through it.